saw a magnificent pictures in a book called True Stories from Nature. Oh yes, today we're going to read this novel. We're going to read this novel, The Little Prince. Once, when I was 6 years old, I saw magnificent pictures in the book called True Stories from Nature about the primeval forest. It was the pictures of boa constrictors in the art of swallowing an animal. Here is a copy of a drawing. In the book it said, boa constrictors swallowed their prey whole without chewing it. After that, they are not able to move and they sleep through the 6 months that they need for digesting. I pondered deeply then of the adventures of the jungle, and after some work with a colored pencil, I succeeded in making my first drawing. My drawing number one, it looks something like this. I showed my I showed my masterpiece to the grow up and asked them whether the drawing frightened them. But they answered, frightened? Why should anyone be frightened by a hat? My drawing was not a pictures of hat. It was a pictures of boa constrictors digesting an elephant. But since the grow up were not able to understand it, I made another drawing. I drew the inside of the boa constrictors so that the grown ups could see it clearly. They always need to have things explained. My drawing number two looks like this. The grown up response this time was to advise me to lay aside my drawing of boa constrictors, whether from the inside or the outside, and devote myself instead to geography, history, arithmetic, and grammar. That is why, at the age of 6, I gave up what might have been a magnificent career as a painter. I had been disheartened by the failure of my drawing number one and my drawing number two. Grown ups never understand anything by themselves, and it is tiresome for children to be always and forever explaining things to them. So then I choose another profession and learn to pilot airplanes. I have flown little over all part of the world, and it's true that geography has been very useful to me. At the glance I can distinguish China from Arizona. If one gets lost in the night, such knowledge is valuable. In the course of this life, I have had a great many encounters with a great many people who have been concerned with matters of consequence. I have lived a great deal among grown-ups. I have seen them immediately. I have seen them intimately, close at hand, and that hasn't much improved my opinion of them. Whenever I met one of them who seems to me at all clear sighted, I tried the experiment of showing him my drawing. Now, my drawing number one, which I have always kept. I would try to find out. So, if this was person of true understanding, But whoever it was, he or she would always say, "This is a hat." Then I would never talk to that person about boa constrictors or primeval forest or star. I would bring myself down to his level. I would talk to him about bright golf, politics, and neckties, and the grow up would be greatly pleased to have met such a sensible man. Chapter 2. So I lived my life alone, without anyone with I could really talk to, until I had an accident with my plane in the desert of Sahara 6 years ago. Something was broken my engine, and I had with me neither a mechanic or any passengers. I set myself to attempt that difficult repairs all alone. It was a question of life or death for me. I had scarcely enough. I had scarcely enough drinking water to last a week. The first night, then, I went to sleep on the sand, 1,000 miles from any human habitation. I was more isolated than a shipwrecked sailor on the rough and the middle of the ocean. Thus, you can imagine any amazement of a sunrise. When I was waked by a odd little voice, it said, "If you please, draw me a ship." What? Draw me a ship. What? I said. Draw me a ship. I jumped to my feet, completely thunderstruck. I blinked my eyes hard. I looked carefully all around, and I saw a most extraordinary small persons who stood there examining me with great seriousness. Here you might see the best portrait that letter. I was able to make I was able to make him, but my drawing is certainly very much less charming than its model. That, however, is not my fault. The grubs discouraged me in my painter's career when I was 6 years old. And I never learned to draw anything except boas from the outside and boas from the inside, from the outside, and boas from the inside. Now I start at the sudden apparitions with my eyes fairly starting at the desert of 1,000 miles from any inhabited region, and yet my little man seems neither to be straying uncertainly among the sand, nor to be fainting from fatigue or hunger or thirst or fear. Nothing but him gave any suggestion of a child lost in the middle of the desert, 1,000 miles from any human habitation. When at last I was able to speak, I said to him, "But, what are you doing here?" And its answer he and an answer he repeated very slowly, as if he were speaking of a matter of great consequence. "If you please, draw me a ship." When a mystery is too overpowering, one dare not disobey. Observed as it might seem to me, 1,000 miles from any human habitation and in dangers of death, I took out my pocket and sheet of paper and my fountain pen. But then I remembered how My study had my studies had been concentrate on geography, history, arithmetic, and grammar, and I thought little chip, another little chip, a chip, chip, I thought little chip, a little crossly too, that I did not know how to draw. He answered me, "It doesn't matter. Draw me a ship." But I had never drawn a ship, so I drew for him one or two pictures I had drawn so often. It was that it was that of the boa constrictors from the outside, and I was stunned to hear that little flow, little fellow greeted with, "No, no, no, no. I do not want an elephant inside the boa constrictors. A boa constrictor is a very dangerous creature, and an elephant is very cumbersome. Where I live, everything is very small. What I need is zip. Draw me a zip." So then I made a drawing. My friend smiled gently and indulgently. "You see yourself," he said. "That is not a sheep. This is a ram. It has horn." So then I did some drawing over once more, but I was rejected too, just like the others. "This is too old. I want a ship that will live a long time." But this time, my patience was exhausted because I was in a hurry to start talking my engine apart. So I thought of this drawing, and I wrote an explanation with it. This is only this book. The ship is you asked for, right? The ship you asked for is inside. I was very surprised to see a light break over the face of my young judge. That is exactly the draw. That is exactly the way I want it. I wanted it. Do you think this is ship will have a great deal a great deal of grass? Why? Because where I live, everything is small. There will surely be enough grass for him, I said. It is a very small ship that I have given you. He bent his head over the drawing. Not so small that, look, he has gone to sleep. And that is how my maid acquaintance of the little prince. Okay, chapter 3. It took me a long time to learn where he came from. A little prince who asked me so many questions never seemed to hear the ones I asked him. It was from a wood dropped by a chance that little by little everything was revealed to me. The first time he saw my airplane, for instance, I shall not draw my airplane. They will be much too complicated for me. He asked me, "What is that object?" "It's not an object. It flies. It's an airplane. It's my airplane." And I was proud to have him learn that I could fly. He cried out then, "What? You drop it down from the sky?" "Yes," I answered modestly. "Oh, that is funny." The little prince broke into a lovely peal of laughter, which irritated me very much. Irrit- irritated, irritated me very much. I like Miss Fortunes to be taken seriously. Then he added, "So you two come from the sky, which is your planet." At the moment, I caught a gleam of light in the impenetrable mystery of his presence, and I demanded abruptly, "Do you come from another planet?" But he did not reply. He tossed his head gently without taking his eyes from my plane. It's true that on the Yukon have come from very far away, and he sank into a reveries which lasted a long time. Then, taking my seaboat of his pocket, he burned himself in the contemplations of his treasure. You can imagine how many curiously was aroused by this half confidence about the other's planet. I made a great effort therefore to find out more on this subject. My little man, where do you come from? What is this where I live? Of which you speak? Where do you want to take your seat? After a reflection silence, I answered, the thing that is so good about the box you have given me is that all night he can use it as his house. That is so, and if you are good, I will give you a string too, so that you can tie him during the day and a post to tie him to. But the little prince seemed shocked by this offer. Tie him? What a queer idea. But if you don't tie him, I said, he will wander off somewhere and get lost. My friend broke into another peal of laughter. But where do you think he would go? Anywhere, straight ahead of him. Then the little prince said earnestly, "That doesn't matter. Where I live, everything is so small." And with perhaps a hint of sadness, he added, "Straight ahead of him, nobody can go very far." Chapter 4. Chapter 4. Okay, we're going to read once more time. Finish this book. We want to read another book. This is Now we're going to read this Borohoya. Stefanus Sukawati Zaluku. De Jipalo. Mbak baca buku mbak. Okay, let me start the reading of these short stories. Borohoya. These stories come from one of the island in Indonesia. It's called Nias Island. In the village of the Fulolotalu Idanu, on Nias Island, Borohoya, son of the former leaders of the village, was talking seriously with his sister. The bad predictions about my wedding worries me, but I really hope it won't come true. I pray that everything will be alright. Poor Sikondra, she must be worried too. Borohoya took a deep breath. He looked up at the sky as stunned. Stunned by a strange red line slashing the peaceful blue of the sky. It only added his worries. Meanwhile, in another village called Hilisulodari, there was a man called Falawan Neha. He was very big, ugly, and raw. That day he was very happy. The night before he had dreamt of a beautiful girl. He was thinking about finding the girl in his dream and marrying her. So he told his father about the dream. His father looked a little surprised and said, "The girl in your dream is Sikondra Laizuduha, daughter of the brave man from a village far away in the west. She is already engaged to a warrior from Frulotalo Idano. He is called Boro Hoya. Why don't you try to find another beautiful girl?" For a moment, Falawa's face was red. But then he said, "I don't care, father. I'm not afraid of Borohoya. I'm going to marry the girl in my dream." The next morning, Falawa made preparation to go to the girl's village. He asked his sister to come with him, since it's a custom in the Nias for a man to be accompanied by his sister when he proposes to a girl. Then he prepared a bolo nafo, a container, and filled it with tobacco, betel, etc. He also put a gold ring in the bola nafo. Falawa and his sister had to walk for many days, but at last they reached the village. It was in the afternoon, and some girls were pounding rice in the front of their houses. Falawa stopped for a moment to admire the girls' beauty. One of the girls saw the other Falawa. One of the girls saw Faralawa and immediately rushed into her house, crying in fear. The other girl looked at the big, ugly man and also disappeared inside their houses. The man was so big and tall and so ugly. Many women and children were afraid of him, and they ran away, rushing into their houses. Falawa did not care. He did not look at them and continued walking towards Sikondra's house. Falawa's sister entered the house through the front door, whereas Falawa entered through the open roof. The girl's parents did not come to welcome Falawa and his sister. Only the girl's brother, Goa Sagomo Angi, came to greet them. Falawa introduced himself and told him, I have come here to propose to your sister." Goa Sagomo Angi tried to be nice to the guests, even though he did not like Falawa's behaviors. "Mm, I'm sorry to tell you that I have only one sister who is still single. She is Kontra Lezuduha, my younger sister, but she is already engaged." "I've heard that, but I'm willing to pay back the dowry to the man he is engaged to now. I've even paid him twice what he was given to your parents," said Falawa with great confidence. The big ugly man kept persuading the girl's brother, and finally offered to pay 9 times the dowry they already received. Still, Gowa Sagomo Angi refused him. Finally, Falawa got angry and insulted him. This made Gowa Sagomo Angi angry too. He told Falawa to leave the house at once. I'll go now, but I'll come back on third day of the next month. Precisely on your sister's wedding day. We'll see then who is the strongest, Borohoya or Farawa Niha. Without saying any goodbye, he rushed out. He rushed out of the house and left the village. As soon as, as soon as he had arrived back in his own village, Farawa called all his soldiers. He told them that on the third day of the next month, they would all go to the west to attack the village of the Losu or Layama Dauru. They would kill all the strong men in the family, but would not harm the daughter, Sikondra Leizuduha, whom Falawa would marry. Falawa's father heard about his son's plan. I don't like wars because I don't like war because they make us suffer. Thank you, Firdadwi. I hope you think it over and cancel your plan. Farawa uh, listened to his father's word, but then he stood up. Father, I honor you and respect you. I honor you and respect your advice, but please don't try to prevent this war. I'm not a coward, and I don't want my enemy to think that I am one. One day before the day of the wedding feast of Borohoya and Sikondra Laizuduha, the girl's father told his son, Boa Sagomo Nadoya and Goa Sagomo Angi to see if there were enough wild pig and deer in the forest. The old man liked to hunt in the forest, so as soon as his son returned, he asked them to gather all the men in the village to go hunting with him in the next day. Sikodra Leizuduha heard about her father's plan, and she was very frightened. So she was afraid to be left alone when her father and all her brothers went hunting. Please don't leave me behind. I'm afraid the big ugly man will come and take me away. Please stay with me or leave someone here to protect me. She asked her father to stay, but he did not want to listen. Next, she asked her brother, Boaz Agomo Nadoya, the biggest and strongest man in the village, to stay with her. He asked his father's permission, but was not allowed to. They stayed behind with allowed to. None of the hunters wanted to go if Boaz Agomo Nadoya stayed at home, as he was the one who could carry the most deer and the pig after the hunt. Then the girl went to her brother, Goa Sagomo Angi, the fastest man in the village. She held his hand and cried, asking him to stay and protect her. She persuaded him to stay because he was the only one who could tell her father and the hunters in the forest if anything went wrong in the village. But then the hunter said that they would stay at home if Kawasagomo Angi did not join them, since he was the only one who could pass news quickly in the forest. With tears in her eyes and a very heavy heart, the girl let her father and brother go. The village was very quiet now. All the women and children stayed inside their houses. Everybody felt treated as if someone bad would happen in the village. They all locked their houses. So did Sikondra. She locked all the drawer and then hid herself into her bedroom. The woman's premonitions come true. Premonitions come true. Came true. It was almost noon when they suddenly heard a frightening noise. It was the war sword of the Falawa and his men coming closer and closer to the village. In a very short time, they took a village. They took a village. Then they stayed at this. Then they started to destroy everything. They burned the houses, killed all the animals, and stabbed the women and children to death. Only one house was not destroyed, the house of Sikondra Laizu Duha. Falawa wanted to meet her and asked her again to marry him. So the big ugly man knocked on the door of the girl's house. Sikondra Laizu Duha felt very frightened. She thought it was the end of her life. She tried to think of some way to save herself, but she was too frightened to think clearly. Falawa kept knocking on the girl's door, but there was no answer. He called the girl's name over and over again. Yeah, there was no answer. Finally, Falawa got mad. He crashed through. He crashed it through the door and entered the house. Sikondra was in the kitchen. She pretended to be busy cooking something and did not turn her head when Falawa called her. It's time for you to come with me. And the big ugly man, the girl said, Yes, but continued her cooking. Do you know that now you're my wife and I'm your husband? Said Falawa in a deep, frightened voice. Yes, I do, answered the girl. I am yours now. And for that reason, you have to be patient. She said with her eyes still on her walk. Falawa laughed. Falawa loud, laughed aloud. Look at the girl as a cat would watch a mouse. With a big, ugly smile, he answered, Sir, I'll be patient. I'll do anything for you. I'll certainly wait for you, if that's what you want. Sir, I'm willing to be your wife. Napa bende? Ya tak beda kok. Tidak. Motor tuh. Okay, we continue to Falawa laughed loud, looking at the girl as a cat would watch a mouse. With a big ugly smile, he answered, Sir, I'll be patient. I'll do anything for you. I'll certainly wait for you, if what you want. I'm willing to be your wife and to go with you. But first, let me prepare a dinner for my father and brothers. This will be the last meal I can prepare for them, said Sikondra, and tears started to fall from her beautiful eyes. Deep in her, deep in her heart, she was praying hard that her father and brothers would soon come home and save her from Falawa. Falawa was very happy. For him, the girl's attitude was a sign of respect. This made him love her even more. He did not mind waiting for her to finish cooking. She prepared the meal very slowly and pretended to be busy in the kitchen. Shikoda looked out the window. The sunlight. The slide told her that it was around 2 o'clock. The hunter usually came home at 5 or 6 o'clock. She still had 3 hours for a miserable hour with the big ugly man. At last, the food was ready. Sikondra was disappointed as he had no excuse for delaying her departure with Fralawa. She cried sadly, hoping for the impossible to happen. Then the big ugly man entered the kitchen and asked her to get ready to leave. We must go now. We will be dark soon, and we won't be able to find our way. Halo guys, halo, selamat datang guys, selamat datang guys. Thank you for. Okay, I'm going to end this reading message. Have a day because the time for me to try my grip. Tomorrow we will continue to continuing this story. Okay, see you next time. Bye bye.